go. We're up to Perek Memtes. This very last section of the book is dealing with various nevuos about the paranios that are going to come on the Umos HaOlam. Some of them are short-term, referring to Nebuchadnezzar. Others are referring to messianic cataclysms and the like. We've already looked at nevuos against Mitzrayim, nevuos against Pelishtim, and a very long nevuah against Mayav. And in Perek Memtes, we will have shorter nevuos against a number of nations. And we first start off with Mayav's brother, Ammon, also who lived east of the Yarden. And Ammon and Mayav were both enemies of Am Yisrael, even though we were not allowed to wage war against them unless they attacked us first. And Ammon, apparently in the course of time, took over land that we had conquered from Sichain Melech HaAmori. Ammon settled in the land, part of the land, of the 2.5 tribes. So Perek Memtes Pasuk Aleph begins, Livnei Ammon. This is a prophecy concerning Ammon. Kayamar Hashem, Habonim ein li Yisrael, im yoresh ein lo. Do the Jewish people not have children? Do they not have heirs who inherit their property? Madua yorash malkam esgad v'amai v'yarav yashav. In other words, again, it's a sarcastic, almost humorous remark. Why did Ammon settle in the territory that belonged to Shevet Gad? Was it because God had no children? God had no Yorshim? So Ammon had to come in? Of course that's not true. God had Yorshim. Now it's interesting. Yorash Malkam, I would have translated this as, why did their king inherit Gad? But I see that the Meforshim actually say that Malkam does not mean their king. Malkam, like Malcolm, maybe that's the source of the name. Malkam was the name of the god of Ammon. So why did the god of Ammon take over the territory of Gad? V'yamo bi'arav yashav. And the nation of Malkam, which is, in other words, Ammon, dwelt in the cities of Gad. Meaning, sarcastically, is it because God did not have a Yoresh? L'chein, Pasuk Beis, Hine yomim ba'am nom Hashem, days are coming, says Hashem. V'yishmati el Rabas b'nei Ammon truas milchama. I will make Rabas, that's the capital of Ammon. I will make them hear the great noise of a shofar blowing, announcing a war. V'haisal l'tel shemama, and Ammon will become a mound of desolation, u'v'naiseh ba'esh titzasna, and all of its sister cities will be burnt with fire. V'yaresh Yisrael es yorshav, Amar Hashem. And Ammon, which tried to be the heir of God, will be inherited by Yisrael. Yisrael will yarshin from he who tried to yarshin from them. Heilili cheshbain ki shudada ai. So again, the problem was we learned in the last parak that Cheshbain was actually a city of Mayav. So why is it mentioned here? So Rashi explains what's going on is this. Ammon was, in spite of the fact that we first had a nevuah of Mayav and then Ammon was actually destroyed before Mayav. So Ai is an Ammonite city. Now Ai is actually west of the Yarden, but still it was part of Ammonite territory as well. So when Ai was conquered, Ammon, Cheshbon would cry because they knew they were next. So Cheshbon is Mayav, Ai is Ammon. So the passage says, Heilili Cheshbon, cry, city of Cheshbon. Ki shudada Ai, when Ai is plundered. So Ai is from Ammon. So when Ai is plundered, Cheshbon knows it's next. Tzakna b'nais Rabbah. Now these are Ammonite cities. You daughters of Rabbah, meaning little villages around Rabbah, cry out. Chagorna sakim, put on sackcloth. Safaidna, eulogize all of your people that are going to die. Vish taitatna, bagdeiros. Wander around and seek protection in the fences of your sheep. Remember, this was very rich, fertile land. That's why the 2.5 tribes wanted that land. So we're telling the people, you're going to be like lost sheep. Seek protection in the corrals of your sheep. Ki Malcolm Bagayla Yelech, your great protective God called Malcolm is going to go into exile. He's not going to protect you anymore. Kayana v'sarav yachtov. Ma tishalali bi'amokim. Why do you take pride in your fertile valleys? Zov imkech. Your valleys were flowing with wine and honey. Bas hashayveva, wayward daughter who went off the derech. Habaytcha b'yitzraseh, you had such confidence in your treasures. Mi yavo elai, who could attack me? But you're wrong. Hineni mevi alayach pachad namashem elokim tzvakos. Behold, I am bringing fear upon you, mikol sevivayach, from everyone around you. V'nidachtem ish lefanav v'ein makabes lenoded. V'nidachtem, you will be pushed away, and no one will gather your dispersed people. They'll be dispersed, and no one will gather them together. But once again, as we had for Mitzrayim, and as we had for Mayav, there is a promise here. B'yacharechein, ashuv es shavus b'nei amay ne'um Hashem. Now this will be Mekoyim limosa Mashiach, like Mayav, unlike Mitzrayim. That was Mekoyim only 40 years later. I will return the captivity of Ammon, says Hashem. Although Lamaisa, we will own that land, Le'asid Lavai, but the Ammonites will be back. Apparently this is connected to a zechus of light, that Ammon and Mayav will have a kiyum, even in Yemosa Mashiach. So Memtes has many, many short prophecies. The first short prophecy, which is only 5 psukim, is the nevuah about Ammon. Now we have a nevuah about Edom. Now remember, Ammon and Mayav are east of the Yarden, and part of that land, the part that was conquered by Sichain Melech Amori, was the land of the 2.5 Shvatim. Other of that land was the land of Ammon and Mayav proper. Edom, Esav, is to the south. Right? It's the southern, it's south of Eretz Yisrael, around Saudi Arabia. And Li'edom, Kayamar Hashem Tzavakas. Now, Edom eventually, although they were nomadic for many, many centuries, Chazal have a Messiah that the Roman Empire is actually considered to be at least descended from Edom, and they suffered a great mapala. And again, we're not always clear, are we talking about short-term Nebuchadnezzar or long-term messianic, the Milchamas of Gog and Magog? That's a very, very big problem in these Nevuos. Are we talking about short-term events or long-term events, or are we talking about both events at the same time? But the pasuk says about Edom, Kayam Hashem Tzavakos, so says Hashem, Ha'einot Chachma b'Teiman. So Teiman is the south. That's where Esav was. Is there no wisdom in Teiman? Avda Eitza mibanim, have their children lost wise advice? Nisrecha chachmasam, has their chachma been spoiled? Meaning they will seem to be too confused to have any type of military or political strategy. They seem to have become stupid, foolish. Nusu, they are fleeing. Hafnu, they've turned their backs. Hamiku lasheves, they're digging deep holes in the ground to hide. Yoshvei Dedan, the inhabitants of Dedan, that was one of the nomadic towns of Esav. Ki'ed Esav evesi olav es bekadetiv, I have brought destruction on Esav. The time of remembering him. Im baitzrim bo lach lo yashiru elolas. So it's comparing Esav's society to a vineyard. And baitzrim are the people that are harvesting the vineyard. Ololos are the little undeveloped grapes that we're supposed to leave for the poor. But Hashem is saying, when the harvesters come to harvest your vineyards, they will not even leave olalot. In other words, there will be total destruction. Im ganavim balayla hishchisu dayam. And the ganavim that come at night, meaning your friends, your allies, that deceive you, like thieves that come in the night, they will take their fill. Ki ani chasafti es Esav, gilesi es mistarav. I have uncovered Esav. I have revealed all of his hidden treasures. V'nechbar lo yuchal, he will not be able to hide. Shudad zarai, his children have become plundered. V'echav and his brothers, u'shchenav and his neighbors. V'yanenu, and they're not going to be here anymore. Azva yisaymecha, you will leave your children as orphans, meaning parents of Esav will be killed. Ani achaya, Hashem says, I'll take care of them. Now it's not clear. Is Hashem saying a good thing here, that I will take care of your Yisaimim, even though you're not going to be around? And the same thing, Almanosecha, and your Almanais, Alai Tiftachu, will rely on me. So again, the way the Meforshim understand it, it's not so much Hashem saying Rachmim. Hashem is going to basically say, your Yisaimim and your Almanais will only have me, Hashem. They won't have you. You will be taken from them. Again, it's a little difficult why it's expressed almost in a way that's a bracha. I will take care of them. But I will take care of them means you won't be around. Pasuk Yudbeis, Ki Chay Amar Hashem, Hine Asher Ein Mishpatam Lishtai Sakais, Shaso Yishtu. Nations that have done much less to the Jewish people. So one might have thought that they didn't deserve to drink the cup of destruction. Nevertheless, they drink it. V'yatahu nako tinokeh. So you think you should get out of it? Nations that are far less bad than you drink the kais of perennius. How can you possibly think that you'll get out of it? Lo tinokeh. You will not be exonerated. Ki shaso tishteh. You must drink it. Ki vi nishbati niyom Hashem. Hashem says, this is my oath, this is what I swear. Ki lashama, lecharpa, lechayrev, leklala, tiya batzra. So batzra, which also means grape harvest, is one of the major cities of Esav. And that is, again, in Saudi Arabia, Batzra. There is a city in Iraq, but again, it's not clear if it's the same city. I will make the great city of Batzra Shama desolate. Cherpa, a source of humiliation. Chayrev, destruction. Klala, a curse. When you want to curse somebody, you'll say, be like Batzra. V'chol areh, and all the cities of Batzra, around Batzra. Tiyena l'charvas Eilam will be destroyed forever. Shamua Shamati Mejim, Yirmiyahu says, I have heard this from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'tzir B'gayim Shaluach, and I am sent to be an emissary to the nations. Now again, this does not mean, as I said before, that you are an emissary to the nations, but an emissary about the nations, telling Klal Yisrael. His kapsu bo Allah v'kumul milchama. So here it's as if he's saying, I retract a little bit. He is not actually sent to the nations, but he is poetically calling out to the nations. I call on the nations to wage war against Esav. Ki hine kotain nisaticha bagoyim. Even though now you're a powerful nation, you will become the most insignificant of nations. Bazoi bi'adam, the most shameful of all people. Tif latsecha, the fear that you put on everyone because of your ferocity and your military prowess. Al charbecha tichya, Heishi Isach enticed you to believe that you had all the power that you could do to anybody. Zadain lipcha shochni b'chag ve'asela. The evil perversity of your heart as you dwell in the cleft of the rock, Tofsi Marom Giva, at the top of the mountain. Again, the idea would be, these are metaphorical expressions for just like a bird of prey, like an eagle, can live very, very high on a mountain and nobody could reach it. And when it wants to attack, it swoops down. So too, Esav is described as dwelling in the cleft of a rock at the top of a mountain. It was invulnerable, strong, protected. Nobody could attack it. Shochni b'chag ve'asela tofse maraim giva. But Hashem says, Ki sagbia kanesher kinecha. Even if you raise your nest as high as the eagle flies, thinking that you are protected, misham ayritcha no masham, I will bring you down from there. V'haisa Edom l'shama, Edom will be desolate. Kol over Allah yisham v'yishraik. Anyone that walks by yisham is going to like take a deep breath, like gasp. How could that be? Yishraik will whistle in astonishment. Yisham v'yishraik. Take a deep breath and whistle, contemplating the utter devastation. Again, big problem. Are we talking about Nebuchadnezzar? Are we talking about Gog uMagog before Mashiach? Are we talking about both? Are we talking about the fall of the Roman Empire? Things not so clear. Pasuk Yitches. Kama pechat Sodom ve'Amor Shechina Amar Hashem lo yeshev shamesh liyagar ben Adam. Just as when Sodom and Amorah were overthrown, and Hashem said no one can ever live there again because the land was destroyed, that will happen to the land of Esav. Hine ka'aryeh yala migaina yarden el nevei son. Just as a lion can rise from the mighty waters of the Yarden and go back to its lair, right? Lions will attack. There were many mountain lions in Eretz Yisrael. They'll attack animals grazing by the Yarden and then go back to their strong dwelling. Ki argia, in a rega, in a short moment, aritzenu me'aleha. Aritzenu, I will bring Nebuchadnezzar, or whichever enemy it is, quickly, and then he will leave. After he decimates you, he will take you into Gullus. Umi bachor eleha efkait. And no matter who your bachor is, your choice, a people, I will visit my einish upon them. Ki mi kamaini. Who is like me, Hashem says. Umi yideni. And who can warn me not to do what I want to do? And who is the shepherd that can protect his sheep from me? So if I allow these wild animals, so to speak, of Bavel, or whoever it is, to attack the sheep of Edom, who is the shepherd that's going to stop me? Listen to what God is saying about Edom and what God's thoughts are about those who are the dwellers of the south, which is again Esav. Imlo yischavum tzirei atzon. The young sheep will be dragged away. Dragged away. A lion can drag them away. Imlo yoshim aleim neveim. And their neveim, their dwelling places, yashim, will be made shemama. And mikol niflam, and the sound of their downfall, all the noise, the crying, the screaming, Rasha haaretz, the land will tremble. Tzaka biyamsuf nishma kola. That even in the Yamsuf you will hear their cries, because again, this could either mean they'll try to escape by going on the Yamsuf, which is around Esav's territory, and they will not be able to escape, or they'll even drown in the sea, in ships. Hine, kanesher yale v'yida. So again, the pashtus is, this is going on Nebuchadnezzar, although as I said, you never really know, are we talking about long-term prophecies or short-term prophecies? But it says, the enemy will come like a swift eagle. Vayifros kinafav al Batzra, he will spread his wings over Batzra. Vahaya leiv gibayre edaim bayemahu, kalev isha mitzera. The mighty courage of Edom that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor who is suffering distress and is too weak to even walk. Okay, so we did in Perek Mem Tes the short nevuah of Ammon, then a longer nevuah of Edom, and now we have a nevuah against Damasek. Damasek is Syria, and throughout the book of Malachim, we saw many, many times, some things don't change, that Damasek, Damascus, which is in Aram, Syria, often was engaged in wars against the Jewish people and often atrocities against the Jewish people. So this is a nevuah about the downfall of Damasek. Le Damasek. Again, not to Damasek, but about Damasek, given to Am Yisrael. Baisha, Hamas, v'Arpad. Hamas and Arpad are two prominent cities of the Syrian, not Ashur, not Assyrian, Syrian Empire. Baisha, Hamas, v'Arpad, Kishmur, Ra, Shamu, Namaygu. The cities of Hamas and Arpad will be shamed and humiliated because of the bad tidings that they hear of the enemy coming. Namaygu, their heart melts. Bayam, as if it melts into the sea. Daiga, it worries. Hashket lo yuchal, it cannot have any type of tranquility or repose. Ravsa Damasek, Damasek has grown weak. Hifnasa lonas, it's turning away to run. Vereta techsika, and trembling grabs it. Sora v'chavolim achazata kiyoleda, going back to that metaphor. Pains are grabbing it like a woman in labor. Eich loy uzva ir tehilas kiryas misosi. How could the glorious city that's called Kiryas Misosi, the city of my joy? Now again, this is not yirmiyahu using his words, but people looked at Damascus as a glorious, beautiful city full of joy. And people will wonder, how could such a city not be spared by the enemy? But lachein, yiplu bachura b'chayvaisaha, its young people shall fall in the streets of Chalanshia Milchami Yidamu, and all of its great soldiers shall be silenced, demama, bayomahu no Hashem tzavakot, v'itzati yesh b'chaymas Damasek. I will bring a fire in the walls of Damasek, v'yachla armenais ben Hadad, and the palaces of Ben Hadad, who was one of the kings, the great kings of Damasek, shall be consumed. So again, the prophecy that eventually there'll be a restoration appears for Mitzrayim, for Ammon and Moav. It does not appear for Pelishtim, it does not appear for Esav, Edom, and it does not appear for Damasek. Now, the next, again, these are very short, is Kedar, and Kedar is actually Yishmael, because Kedar were oases in the desert, where the Bnei Yishmael, like the Arabs, were Bedouins wandering from place to place, and this is a nevuah regarding the destruction of Yishmael. And again, as is always the case, and it's very, very difficult to figure this out, this is both long-term and short-term. It is short-term in terms of Nebuchadnezzar will conquer the the Bnei Yishmael. It's also long-term that eventually there will be, before Mashiach, the downfall of Bnei Yishmael. And again, perhaps we are seeing that in our very days. La Kedor. For the people of Kedor, these are the Bnei Yishmael. Ula Mamluchus Chatzor, again, which is another kingdom of Yishmael. Asher Hika Nebuchadrezzar, Melech Bavel, Kayamar Hashem, Kumu Alu El Kedar V'Shadadu Es Bnei Kedem. Go against Kedar, Nebuchadnezzar, and plunder the children of the east. The Bnei Yishmael are called the Bnei Kedem. Ohaleim B'Tzainam Yikachu. They will take, Nebuchadnezzar will take their tents and their sheep, yirmiyahu, their tent curtains, kol kuleim ugmaleim, all of their utensils, all of their camels, yisulam, they will carry them away, v'karu aleim mogor misaviv, and they will proclaim terror all around them. Nusu nudu mi'ait, the Bnei Kedar will run away. Hemiku lasheves yoshvei chatzor nam Hashem. People of Chatzor, hemiku, dig a deep hole to try to protect yourself, but it's not going to work. Ki yoatz alech Nebuchadrezzar melech Babel eitza. Nebuchadnezzar has a plan against you. V'chashav alecha machshava. He is thinking about you, and Hashem will give him the power to carry it out. Kumu alu el goy shalev. In other words, this is what Hashem is telling Nebuchadnezzar. Go and attack this tranquil nation, because again, Yishmael was secure, it was batuach, it had large stretches of land with no natural enemies. They were shalev, they were tranquil, they were yoshev levetach, they were dwelling in security. Lo delasayim, they didn't need doors, v'lo berich, they didn't need locks. Badad yishkainu, they dwelt by themselves. But Hashem, so Nebuchadnezzar could have left them alone. But Hashem put into Nebuchadnezzar's mind to go after them. V'hayu gamaleim levaz, and their camels shall be for spoils. V'hamayim mikneim l'shalal, and their cattle will be taken again for booty. V'zei risim, and I will scatter the Bnei Kedar, Bnei Yishmael, l'chol ruach etzusei peah, to all the corners of the world. Mikol avarav obvious, and from all sides I will bring their destruction. So it doesn't mean they'll die necessarily, but they will be scattered. V'haisa Chatzor l'ma'in tanim, and the great city of Chatzor shall be a dwelling place for tanim. So tanim either means snakes, or it means jackals, wild dogs. Shemama ad olam, it will be desolate. Lo yeshiv shamish lo yoger ba ben adam, no one will live there. So that was Kedar. Again, you do not have any prophecy that they will come back. And finally, we have Elam. Now, Elam is a province of Persia. Now, the truth is, Persia is the empire, Paras, that will conquer Nebuchadnezzar and, in fact, allow the Bayis Sheni to be rebuilt. But eventually, Elam too will be crushed by Greece, and Liasid Lava, there are also messianic implications. And that is the final prophecy in this parak about Elam, which is Paras. Asher Haya Devar Hashem El Yirmiyahu Hanavi El Elam. And this is given a date. The other ones are not given a date. The beginning of Malchus Sidkiyahu Melech Yehuda. So assuming the beginning is year 1, this is 11 years before the Churban. So although we've already read about the Churban, but this is an example of Ein Muktim U'Ma'ucher. Kayamar Hashem Tzivakos. Hineni Shaiver es Keshes Elam Reishes Kevurasam. Eventually, although Elam will destroy Bavel, which is good, but I will break the bow of Elam, the source of their strength. Vehevesi el Elam arba ruchais mi'arba katzais hashamayim. I will bring 4 powerful winds from the 4 directions, north, south, east, west. V'zei reisim, and Elam will be scattered. L'chol haruchai sa'ela, in all of these directions. V'lo yiyah hagoy asher lo yavai sham nitchei elam. There will be no nation in the world that the exiles of Elam will not be there. V'hachtati es Elam lifnei evem, I will break Elam in front of their enemies. V'lifnei mavakshay nafsham, and in front of those that are seeking their destruction. Ve'vesi aleim ra escharei napi, I will bring upon them evil, my anger, Num Hashem. V'shilachti achareim esacherev ad kalaisi, I will send my sword till they are destroyed. V'samti kisi bi'elam, and I will show in Elam that there too is my throne, that I'm the God of Elam as well. V'avadati misham melech v'sarim Num Hashem, I will destroy the king and the officers. Again, this is actually very significant because the modern Elam is none other than Iran. And therefore, there is the short term of the Greek Empire destroying or conquering the Persian Empire, but this is also a long-term prophecy that the Malchus of Elam, which is Paras, shall be Nechrav. But here it says, once again, V'hoya bi'acharis hayomim oshiv es shavus Elam Num Hashem. So we had it for Mitzrayim, we had it for Ammon, we had it for Mayav, and we have it for Elam, although not for Esav and Yishmael, that Hashem will return Elam to its Makayim at some point. Now, it's very, very hard to figure out what any of this means. Even Yishmael, in Yirmiyahu's Nevuah, there bedavka is no reference that Hashem will bring back Yishmael. And yet, we have Chazals that say Yishmael did Shuvah. So, there are Messiahs that seem to be different than the Psukim. And, as I've said many, many times already, today and other days, we're always Mesupik if the Nevuahs are Messianic Nevuahs, or they refer to short term. So this is the end of Perek Memtes, which had a whole variety of Nevuahs. We had Ammon, we had Edom, we had Damasek, we have Kedar, which is Yishmael, and we have Elam, which is Persia. If you've been following, however, there is one nation that we haven't yet discussed, and that is Bavel itself. Bavel is the enemy that Yirmiyahu is facing. Bavel is the enemy that destroyed the first Beis HaMikdash and exiled Klal Yisrael. Perek Nun and Perek Nun Aleph are two long nevuos about the eventual destruction of Malchus Bavel itself. We will look at that later.